One of the most important things we can do in life is to make each day count. So today we're going to talk about that. You have a story to tell, but you don't know where to start. Let me show you how to free your story. I teach you how to write and how to dig deep in your soul to release your story and make a difference in the world. So welcome to the Julia Amante channel. If we're just meeting, I am Julia Amante. I'm a women's fiction author. And today what I want to do is talk about making each day count. And what do I mean by that? So I spent most of the weekend since I was looking at the calendar and saying, okay, we are down to our last quarter, right? We have October, November, December. We're finished with 2021 already. Amazing. Just crazy, but it's true. So what I did is look at and say, okay, what do I want to accomplish? What do I need to do in the next 3 months? And how do I do it? Do I have enough time to do the things that I need to do? Do I need to carry some things over to the next year? And so I spent some time just planning. And the reason that I did this is because it's important for me to finish the projects that I started this year. And I tend to be very goal orientated, and I like to have my year planned. I like to have my month, my week, my day planned. And I want to make sure that I'm accomplishing the goals that I set out to accomplish at the beginning of the year. And it's very common for me to feel at the end of the day after working, 12, 15 hours, that I didn't really get anything done. Like this day, I just kind of wasted the day and I didn't accomplish anything. And then when I go back to my calendar and I say, well, I did this and I did this and I did this and I did this, I realized that, well, no, I did obviously do a lot today. Did I really, did I really move forward? Like, did I move forward in my writing? Did I move forward in connecting with my children or with something that's important to me? And, usually yes, but there are days when it's like, well, I just ran around and I went to Costco and I had to wash the car and had to do all these things that in the end, I think, well, does it really matter? Does it really matter that I washed the car and then it's going to rain or whatever, and it's going to get dirty again? Was it even important? And so those are the kind of things that go on in my head sometimes. So there's this Greek philosopher, and not that I go around reading Greek philosophy. I don't. I actually read this in a magazine for Buddhism magazine, and it was Greek philosopher Heraclitus, and he said, let me say exactly what he said. I think it was something to the effect of, the sun is new every day. So it wasn't like, okay, this brilliant saying, right? But it's true. And of course, what it means is that we get a new start every single day. So what we didn't get done yesterday, what didn't get accomplished last week, we can still do it. So if we didn't write a chapter that we wanted to write, if we're still here, we're still alive, we woke up this morning, then we can still do that. If we didn't eat well yesterday, and we want to, or watching our weight, or we're trying to lose weight, or we're trying to stay healthy, okay, it's done. Today's a new day, and we can start again. Okay, so it's not like everything was wasted and it's going to be the end of the world. It's not like that. So sometimes we have to remind ourselves that the deadlines are arbitrary. There's usually not something that absolutely has to get done. I do have my plan. I do have my planner, and I have the goals, but it's my timeline. It's my it's my goal, right? It's not anybody that's telling me I have to get done this by this date. It's just something that I have decided. And I was just having a similar conversation with my daughter about this, where she's thinking, well, when I graduate, she'll have her BA or it's a science, maybe it's a BS, but either way, she's going to be finished here in the summer, next summer, and she's thinking, well, I'm not quite sure before I go on for my master's that that I want to continue on this path. I think I do, but I'm not positive. So I'm thinking of taking a gap year, and I'm not really sure. And this is really going to set me behind. Is it a good idea? And I told her I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea to kind of think about what you want to do and make sure that, yes, before you go on to another 2 to 3 years in a master's program, that you really do want to do what you think you want to do, right? That you and she's barely turning 21, next month. So it's she's got plenty of time. There's no timeline, and what tends to happen is that society tells us that we have to have this timeline, that we have to get things done by certain times, that we have to go from our bachelor's to our master's immediately, right? And then we have to continue. Not that I want her to take 10 years off. This is what I did. I took 10 years between the bachelor's, and that kind of tends to be the fear, right? If I take a year off, maybe it'll turn into 2, it'll turn into 5, and then what? But if it does, it does, because that's life, right? It's better to really know what you want to do and really think about what you want to do, rather than jumping into something because of this arbitrary timeline that most of us set for ourselves, and then sometimes society sets for us. So we want to make sure that we are not doing that. So going back to making each day count, though, right? So we have, I think, 2 things. One thing is that we want to live our life happy. And so on the one hand, we want to be happy with our life choices and enjoy the things that we're doing. And on the other hand, we want to achieve something, achieve our goals, and keep moving forward, and hopefully make a positive impact. Okay. So like I said, I'm kind of get crazy. I actually enjoy doing the planning and all of that, but not everybody is like that, and not everybody has to be like that. So that's what I like to do, and that's what kind of gives me I find enjoyment with planning and making and seeing that, kind of what I'm going to do. But for some people, it might just be a lot of stress. Like, oh my God, I have to do all of this. And so that's why we kind of have to see what it is that brings us the happiness, and then how to do the things that will make us happy, but also allow us to move forward in our life. And I think one of the things that we have to do is decide or think about what is our contribution, right? So to me, making the day count, making our life count, is by doing something positive for the world, right? Now, what does that mean? That's not like, to me, changing the world, because I can't do that, right? I can't do that. I don't have very many gifts. In fact, I don't know really what else I can do other than just write and teach. Those are the 2 things that I know I can do, and that hopefully I do well or good enough to continue to do it, right? So to continue to teach, continue to write. If those are the gifts that I have been given, then that's what I'm going to use to make each day count. So I'm going to write a story that hopefully will entertain somebody, or I'm going to teach my students and help them move forward with their dreams and their goals and become a little bit better writers, and be able to think about how they're going to, write an essay or create a resume, or any of that stuff that we go over in our classes, in my classes when I teach. So that's what I can do to do something positive and contribute, right? Somebody else is going to do something different. But ultimately, when we think of like, well, do I, the question that probably is in a lot of our minds is, well, do I really matter? Does this really matter? I've asked myself that. Okay, so I'm spending all this time writing a book, writing a story, writing fiction. It's not true. This is true. Am I doing anything of value? Am I just wasting my time? Do I really matter? Right? Does what I do matter? And yes, I mean, ultimately it has to, because that's what I do. And whatever, if you're a writer, that's what you do. If you do something else, what you're doing does matter. And if it didn't, I think if it didn't matter, we wouldn't be here. So if I woke up today and I'm still here to do what I'm doing still matters, right? And so what I want to do today is just going to share just some tips to think about, right? Like how to make each day count. Like what can you do to make your day count no matter what you're doing? So the first thing then is what Heraclitus said, right? That every day is a new day, basically. Every day that the sun comes out, we have another opportunity. So being grateful for that new day and that new opportunity to do something good is something I think we should keep in mind. So again, if you're waking up and you're still here, that means you still matter and you have an opportunity to move forward with your dreams and your goals. The second thing is to spend some time thinking about what your gifts are. Okay, if you are a writer, then what can you do today to move forward to share those gifts with somebody else, with someone else, with the world? So can you write a story? Can you help somebody else write a story? Can you share what you know with someone else? And if it's not writing related, what else? What else are some of the gifts that you have? And it doesn't have to be huge. Like, what can you do to be helpful to someone else? Can you help somebody fix their car? Can you fix somebody dinner? Can you write a letter to somebody that maybe has been locked up in their home and hasn't been able to go out and maybe isn't on the internet? So some of maybe the older people that aren't on the internet as much but would really love to get a letter. So that's something, right? Using your gifts that you can do to make this day important and make this day matter. I think another thing is to focus on the future. So thinking about what, like I mentioned, the past is already done, right? So if you didn't stick to your diet yesterday or you didn't write your chapter yesterday, it doesn't really matter because today is a new day. And also we have many new days coming up, hopefully, right? So thinking about the future and moving forward and how you're going to use today to get to tomorrow, right? What is it that you can do today that's going to make things easier tomorrow? So I've heard this said many times, maybe you have too, where, if you think of like your future self in 5 years, what will your future self be grateful to you for what you did today, right? So I did this, I learned this, I wrote this letter, I maintained this relationship with somebody, or I renewed a relationship with somebody, or I applied for this job, or whatever. Will, 5 years from now, will that person be happy that you did that today, that you moved forward with this? So thinking about the future is important because that's where we're headed. So thinking about what can you do today to get to the place you want to be tomorrow. And it doesn't have to be huge. Again, you don't have to have this huge plan that I have, but you can say, okay, I'm going to take these little tiny steps to get there. Okay, to get there eventually. Another thing I think that makes each day important to me is that I find inspiration in everything. So if I go for a walk and the day is beautiful or the day is kind of hot or whatever, I find something great about that. Or just being able to walk with my dogs, or being able to go to my bed where my little Chihuahua is sleeping and just giving her a little hug and just seeing her there, right? So finding inspiration in nature, finding inspiration in books, finding inspiration in humans, things that people do. I sometimes see my students in my classrooms, and it's like I find inspiration in them because they're working towards their dreams, right? They're working towards their goals. And it's like, wow, I remember being 20 years old and kind of with my whole life ahead of me and all the dreams and everything I wanted to achieve. And that's where they are now. So it's kind of cool, it's like I want to give them a mental hug of, good for you. I'm glad you're doing this. And it's inspiring. Or just finding inspiration in what other people have done and built. Like if you've ever walked through a church or just a city and seeing all the buildings and thinking, oh my God, somebody created this, and then tons of people worked to build it, and how cool is that, right? That building's going to be there hundreds of years, hopefully, and way after I'm gone. So pretty awesome, right? And then the other thing is to dedicate yourself to something bigger than you. So if you are a writer or that's your goal and your dream, you're going to be doing that. But is there anything else that you also want to do? Is there something else that you care about, that you want to just do something that helps, right? That is more important than just your everyday life. And I don't know if I have much there, because I'm always so busy. I mean, obviously my children, but I know my husband, one of the things that he does and annoys the hell out of me, and he knows this, and he'll probably watch this video, but he picks up stuff that people will throw away and he'll bring it home. And it's like, I tell him, like, why are you bringing like other people's junk here? And he's like, well, maybe we could use it. And if we can't use it, then that's okay. I'm going to recycle it. And so he does. He'll spend like all this time tearing things apart. They'll put plastics and glass and whatever else he has, all these little things. And then he'll take it to recycle. And then to kind of make me happy, he'll say like, look, I got this change for this. And, I've in talking to him in the past, I said like, I don't even know why you do this. I don't know why you do this, because it's not the change. It's not like the $3 or the $5 or whatever you get from the recycling. But it's like, he's like, well, he hates to think of things ending up in the trash, right? Or in a landfill. And so at least if he's taking it in and it's getting recycled, he's doing something to help the earth. And then I just kind of joke with him and say, well, you just like to tear things apart. And it's like, yeah, he does actually fine. He does. I do. I kind of find some enjoyment in that, but he's also doing something good, right? So it's doing something that is not huge or major, but it's like, okay, well, true, that will end up in a landfill. Somebody just threw it out, right? So rather than just throwing it out and having it go into a landfill, into a trash dump, it's like, okay, well, some of it is being recycled because he's tearing it apart. Is it making a huge difference? Well, no, because we're not all doing that. So maybe we should all be doing our part to not put, plastics that last forever into the trash. Maybe if we all did something to help, little tiny things, it's something bigger than ourselves and it matters, right? So that at the end of the day, we're like, okay, well, I actually did something to help. I didn't, or at least I didn't contribute to making things worse. So maybe not buying the plastic, or not, or maybe keeping something that you don't really want anymore, but you can fix it and give it new life and keep it a little longer and keep it from ending up in the trash or in the ocean or something like that. So what can you do to add to, contribute something to the world? And a little bit more. So at the end of the day, it's like, well, did my life matter? I didn't really achieve much, and I didn't get towards my goal, and I didn't write that chapter. But you know what? I did save this one bottle from going into the trash. It's cool, right? Because it's something that you are doing. Or maybe you just said something nice, or maybe you put the cart back where it belongs at the grocery store. You help somebody carry something into their, into their car from the grocery store. So I think those things, when, at the end of the day, at the end of a week, or if we pay attention to it, and we realize, we did these many things to get closer to our goals, and just to make the world a better place, and to be a little happier, and to be more inspired. I think that it does make a big difference. And we do feel at the end, right, that yes, this day did matter. So I'm excited for the last 3 months of the year. What about you? What are your plans for the next 3 months of the year? How are you doing with your writing goals? Have you written your book? Have you just started your book? So let me know in the comments what you have done. And also, if you like this video, please share it and hit the like button. And I will see you again next Friday.